Welcome to another edition of It's a Long Beach Thing. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and like us on Facebook on It's a Long Beach Thing. We have a good group of people. You can talk about everything you want as long as it's about Long Beach. I have a great show for you today. I have my friend that I've known for over 10 years now, Jerusha Day. Jerusha, how are you today?
Hey, Paul, I'm great. Thank you for having me on. Yes, I can't believe it's been 10 years.
It absolutely has. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Right on. Well, should we dive in?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, great. So, what's your first association with Long Beach?
My first association with Long Beach is just coming down and just going to the beach and probably going to places to eat in Long Beach
Hmm.
and just getting to know it that way.
Okay. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Northern California. So
Okay.
born, yeah, I am a Californian. So I was born in San Francisco and lived in Sacramento and was grew up in Northern California near Chico, and went to Sac State for a while. Then went to Santa Rosa area, which is where my daughter was born, and then made my way down to North Hollywood and Southern California, and
Oh,
here I have remained.
okay, tell me about that. So, what made you go to North Hollywood? Did you want to be an actress?
I did do, yes, I did do some acting. I did do a little bit of modeling here and there. My husband at the time was in entertainment, working with various different artists. So it was quite a nice life to, be around the entertainment world, so to speak. Did do a little bit of background work and things like that, but quickly decided that not two people could be in entertainment at the same time. Somebody had to have a steady job. So I was a restaurant manager for a while down here in Carl's Jr. at first, and then went on to work in the theme parks with the division of Kodak.
Oh, I didn't know. So so you managed, how many Carl's Juniors did you manage?
I managed one at the time.
Okay.
I was a store manager. Yeah.
Where in the North Hollywood area?
North Hollywood and Canoga Park area. Yeah, different locations. Mhm.
Okay. And then what theme park? So if I'm gonna guess, in northern in that area with Universal Studios, is that where you were at?
Yeah. So I went on to have my second child and decided that I was done with restaurant management because I did that in Sacramento and that had been part of my career. I was in management from the time I was 17 years old, basically. Um, and I applied for a job it was Amazing Pictures at the time, but I applied for a division with Kodak. Jurassic Park was just opening up, and I literally saw it when it was just dirt, and I got called back before I could even get home. I got called back, and from there it just went on to become a district manager, working directly for Kodak. I then went on to build a career as well. I was a district manager with San Diego Zoo, Escondido, Safari Wild Park, all the way up to Magic Mountain and everything in between. And then I managed the entertainment industry side as far as red carpet events. So that was also mine. So I built our business up to $2 million business of just red carpet events. So we did all the photography and everything. And then I went on the PGA tour as well
The PGA
during,
Tour?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, during imaging. Same thing. This so I would ship equipment to the destination and go to the golf tournament and met all kind of golfers, from Tiger Woods to, Bubba Watson, everybody. Yeah.
hmm. What year were you doing the PGA Tour? What years?
Oh, geez. 2000, probably 2008 to about 2010.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow. During the peak of the recession, you were doing that.
I was. And then I accepted assignment and went overseas and to Dubai and Singapore and did imaging with our international side and became a global director of operations. So, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about like the day-to-day work that you're doing. So when you say imaging to me, that doesn't mean anything to me. I
Right.
really don't understand. So what does that mean? When you say doing imaging, what does that mean?
So in the theme parks, we were those people that we take your photos when you first come in the park, all the ride photography that comes in. We put you in the green screens. So it was just all we call it themed imaging, right? Entertainment. So that was our people. So I was the operations part of it. So I hired all the people, made sure they were out there taking your photos and doing that sort of thing. Yeah. So, and then we did different events, like I was saying, the red carpet. So we would send out a certain amount of events for Warner Brothers Studios or Disney Studios for all the big movies like Fast and Furious, um, and we take photos
Do you have
with
any
the
fun
stars. And
stories that happened at the red carpet when you were there?
do I have any fun stories? None that I can think of right now, right off the top of my head.
Okay.
Um,
Also,
yeah,
no problem. So you were doing that. Obviously, you were pretty darn good at it. If you were accepted a job to go overseas,
yeah.
that had to been a tough decision for you, with your family and all, and to go overseas. So talk about your thought process there. I know maybe your daughter might have been a little bit older, but still, it's got to be
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. She had just finished college and
mhm.
graduated and just came home for a second. She graduated from Howard University in DC, and she had just came home for a short period of time. And then I accepted a job overseas, and she had just got a job with Macy's um, as a sale, well, not a sales associate, I'm sorry, as a buyer, assistant buyer. And so it wasn't too tough. I thought it was a natural progression. She was doing her thing, and it was time for me to go ahead and go do mine. And she gave her blessing. She was like, "Go." There's nothing to even think about, right? So yeah, that was pretty easy. I think in life, your children have what they do, and we also are still individuals, so we still get to do what we need to do as well. So, and we're just a plane right away. So.
So I forgot where did you go overseas? What country were you at?
So I lived in Dubai. That was my first stop. But and then I got there and I went straight to Singapore and then worked on the accounts there. I had Marina Bay Sands, which is the hotel that looks like a ship. Um, we had Jurong Bird Park. We had a lot of different zoos and different venues there. And then I was in India, Turkey, Bahrain. So I did quite a bit of travel. Indonesia was really big for me. So I was in Bali, Jakarta. Yeah. And then I would go back to Dubai where I lived.
So before you traveled to Dubai and all these other places, have you gone to those places before? Were you a traveler?
I had traveled a lot within the United States because my company would take me different places. We would go to Orlando every year for a sales meeting. I had an account in DC. I had an account in Chicago. So I would travel quite a bit within the United States. So that was my first time going abroad. And my first time, believe it or not, Paul, living outside of California, I was like, I'll go big. I'll just go to Dubai. So, yeah.
Was there a culture shock because you said you lived in California all your life, haven't really traveled outside the United States. Was there a little bit of a culture shock on how people do things, or was it pretty easy for you to adapt?
It was easy for me to adapt, I think, because I've always worked with people from different countries. And when I was with Kodak, we had the H2B program and a J1 program where we would bring people over to work with us for summers and sorts, that sort of thing. So we had South Africans, we had Brazilians, so it was kind of easy because you kind of, even though you're not there, I've always been one to respect that we're all different. We have different cultures, and I like to learn other cultures. So, you know, I think we just have to respect that culture. But so you can learn a lot.
I bet you
Hmm.
did. So you're how long were you traveling internationally? You know, I know Dubai was your main hub, but you were traveling all over. How long did you do that?
I was gone for 2 years. My contract was for three, but ended in 2 years, and I came back home. So went straight to Cal State Long Beach, finished up my degree there, and decided that I wanted to do something for me rather than work for corporate. That's when I came to meet you and through loan signings.
So, so then you went to Long Beach State. Did that mean did you move there? Did you move in the area as well, or?
I came to Long Beach.
Oh,
I always wanted to go to Cal State Long Beach. I didn't have much to go to finish my degree, and life happens sometimes, and we take different routes. So I thought that was great. Let me just finish up, and Long Beach was where I wanted to live. And I think even more so, Paul, because after I had lived abroad, I really wanted to be in a place where it was really diverse. You know,
and I agree. Long Beach is definitely diverse, especially with food, the culture. That's why I love it. That's why I do a podcast about it.
yeah, yeah.
So you graduated from Long Beach State. Did you have what was your idea? I don't. I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if what you got into is what you were thinking you were going to get into when you went to Long Beach State, or maybe it was. I don't know.
Well, I went ahead and got my psych degree and my minor in communication. So I would like to say that I am a person who always continues to learn. So if somebody would pay me just to go to school to learn, I probably would do that. So yeah.
So how did you get into notary services then? After did you do it while you were at Long Beach State, or did you
I
do it?
did. So I decided that a good friend told me that that's what her husband did. And I didn't even realize after all these years that I'd known her for 10 plus years that that's what her husband did. But I knew that obviously coming back, being an adult, I needed money, but I also wanted to enjoy and have time to spend with my classmates to do homework and that sort of thing, and just to have that great experience. I had money from being overseas because, when I'm overseas, when you're an expat, you get to hold a lot of your money. The company pays for a lot. They paid for my car, they paid for my housing, all that. So when I came back, I was pretty much debt free, right? And I decided that, okay, I'll do notary loan signing because that allowed me the flexibility to be able to kind of carve out my own time. If I wanted to take a loan signing, because through the banks and through the different services, they call you or they notify you to see if you're available to conduct this loan signing. So it was perfect because if I could do it, I could do it. If I couldn't, I didn't have to. So
I would imagine though, doing that and being able to be flexible with that, but imagine that, after a while, if a company's calling you and a notary keeps saying no, they probably don't reach out to that person anymore, and you probably will lose out. Is that the case with notary services?
yes, it can be. You are correct. Yes. And I think it just like anything, it's tougher when you're trying to build your business. But I took that time to really vet the different companies that would work for me as well as them I for them. You have to be careful when you're signing up as a loan signing agent with different people. You want to make sure you get paid. You want to make sure that they're a good company, that sort of thing. So now I've been, that was in 2012, and here we are, what, 15 years later, 13 years later, I still do it, not to the same magnitude, but I actually have trained people to be loan signing agents. I love training. So yeah. So I'll actually start doing a class on that soon.
That's interesting. That's shocking to hear that you had to vet companies because you weren't getting paid. But wasn't your services, paid through escrow?
Some of them are paid through escrow, some of them are paid through a loan signing company. So you could be employed, you could have a relationship with the title company, and the job can come from the title company, or you could be the last person on a totem pole where the company has a contract with the title company or the loan company, the lender, and then they hire you from that point.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's rough not getting paid to do that work because being a former loan officer and knowing and being present to many signings, that's a lot of work. And why it's a lot of work, not necessarily pointing and saying sign here, but it's the personalities that you're dealing with. You're dealing with people from all sorts of different backgrounds. I mean, they could be
Yeah.
super chill, they could be super on edge. You have no idea what you're walking into, and that can lead to a little bit of anxiety going into the situation of a signing, I would imagine, especially new at it.
You are correct. I think one of the things that I had on my side is because I've been in management since 17. I've worked with so many different people, being a director, that part didn't bother me. As long as I understood exactly what I was presenting. So I took the time to learn it. I took the time to learn all the documents, the process, so that when I'm in front of somebody, I can present it with confidence and clarity, which will minimize their anxiousness. Because signing a loan can be it could be anxiety for people. And you are correct. You don't know what type of situation you're walking into, from their home not being clean. Maybe they're a hoarder. Maybe they're anxious because they might be in the process of losing their home, and this is their last ditch effort, or they're a first time buyer, or it's their first investment property. So, yeah.
So that probably gave you a good handle on transitioning to being an agent. So when did that thought process come into your head? Was it right in the beginning, or did it just come along from doing all these signings and thinking, oh, you know what, this could be interesting for me?
Well, one of the things that I always used to love to do, me and my ex-husband, is we would like to go out and look at properties. I've always enjoyed looking at properties. Um, and one of the things I enjoyed about the loan signing business is I thought it was great to be able to help people through the process and see the reward of them, like I said, signing their documents, getting their house, getting their refinance. So that was great for a time. And it allowed me the opportunity to kind of slow down a little bit from um, being a director and being with Kodak. Then it was like, well, I kind of want to do more. I want to have more of an impact. And one of my good friends, I had already been thinking about it, but one of my good friends said, I could see you as a real estate agent. I said, that's funny that you mentioned. I guess that's confirmation. So then I just started taking the test. Remember, I told you I'm a student for life.
Yeah.
So, but it makes it easier for me as a real estate agent because I understand the loan packet. I understand the settlement statement. I understand the closing disclosure. I could almost tell you, with you just talking to me and not even looking, I could tell you where to find certain documents in the packet and what that document means, you
Mhm.
know. So.
So, talk about your first year in the business because it's a dog eat dog world when you're talking about real estate. So, talk about the growing pains there.
So, I started out a little bit slower because I was doing the loan signings. And I think my first clients was really during uh, when the interest rates were low
Mhm.
and you were getting outbidded by not 10 offers, but 50,
Yeah.
45, 50 offers. And if you didn't have a huge margin, you couldn't compete, you
Mhm.
know? So, they kind of felt those clients said, "Oh, we want to wait." So with COVID coming on board, coming around, happening, however you want to say it, with the low interest rates, Paul, I was so busy. I got my license in 2018, but I was so busy for like a year and a half because 40% of the notaries stopped working because they were afraid of COVID or maybe they were too old, whatever the case might be. Maybe there's health situations. I was literally doing like 30 to 36 loan signings a week.
Wow.
A week.
So, how many hours is that? That's probably close to 60 hours a week.
Yeah, because that's say let's just say I was doing 7 to 8 loan signings a day. And they're usually about every 1.5 to 2 hours apart, because you have to scan stuff in, that sort of thing. So I would have food in my car. I would have drinks in my car. I got a mobile scanner and just would get out there. The toughest part is if you don't have loan documents in time, and then you got to try to figure out how you're going to get back home to print or that sort of thing. Yeah. But it was quite busy, but it was good. The best part of it was nobody was on the highway.
There we go.
So,
So then, obviously things transition a little bit, probably what, 2022,
mhm.
2023,
Yep.
interest rates slowed down, or interest rates didn't slow down, interest rates went up.
Right. Right.
Inventory still low to this day, still low.
Yes.
So very challenging. So, like to pick your brain a little bit on, what your thoughts are on the real estate market in Southern California, Long Beach especially, because it can be frustrating. Now I feel like what you talked about with the 50 offers, that slowed down, which I think is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I've talked to many real estate agents, as you know, I know a lot. And one of the things that I tell them is I think that having 50, even if you are really busy, even if you're getting the deals, I don't think it's good good growth to have that much have that many offers, because what's going on is those housing prices are going up, up, and up, and basically it's taking out a big chunk of the people who can qualify for a loan in Southern California. So having it slow down, I think, is a good thing to have the market reset a little bit.
Yes.
What's your thoughts on all that?
I definitely agree with you because then it encourages buyers to get back into the market and encourages new buyers to feel like they have a chance. When you have a limited budget and you're trying to buy for your family, you can't compete if there's so many offers going up against yours. We still see depending on how the house is priced, you will see where there's multiple offers on that. I do like when agents will say, we've received enough offers, we're not going to accept any more, because I think that puts a lot of undue stress or responsibility on the seller as well, as the agents. So, and I think it makes for a healthier transaction. Yeah. You don't want the prices of the homes to be too high because then people are they're removing appraisal contingencies, which can be good, but if the house doesn't appraise, then they're asking for a reduction in the price. So yeah,
Yeah, and like if you're not like for me, if you're not selling your home, I really don't want my house prices to jump, because what happens with that is I have to pay higher property tax. So I
yes,
it's
yes,
only good for me when I want to sell. Other
yes,
than that, I don't really want, you know what I mean? So, you be careful what you wish for, as
right.
far as when you own properties. So what would you tell? Because I'm sure you get this question a lot, and I've gotten this in the past. So what would you say to a potential buyer who says to you, Jerusha, I do want to buy a home, but you know what? The interest rates are a little high. Feel like there might be I hear this too, and this is really, it makes me laugh. I feel like there's going to be a recession, and I'm going to buy in the recession. Tell me your thoughts on that, that strategy, or what would you tell that buyer?
Well, Paul, we can't control the future. We don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know what's going to happen in the future. In one instance, the interest rates, and I just saw this last week, where they'll dip down, and literally the next 12 hours they've gone back up already. So I think it's one of those things where if you can afford to buy at this point in time, and I say that especially here in the Southern California market and in Long Beach, since that's where we're talking, if you can afford to buy that piece of property, go buy it because you can always, hey, date the rate, marry the house, right? You can always refinance it. As if you have a good loan officer or a good real estate agent, as soon as that market goes down a little bit and it makes sense for you to refinance, refinance. but now you have the house. If you wait for the rates to go down, what's going to happen? We just said it a breath ago. You're going to have more people that's vying for the same house, and now you're going to pay more for the house because it drives up the price because you have competition on that house.
Mhm.
Where if you just go ahead and purchase it and then refinance, you can sit back and eat popcorn while everybody else is out there trying to purchase, you know?
Well said. And also, in that token, when somebody says, "I'll buy in a recession," well, that'd be hard. You know, you don't know what your job situation might change, or something else might change. So, if you're in the market to buy a home and a home comes up for sale that you want to buy and it just fits your family, do it. And like you
Yes.
said, absolutely, you can refi when if and when the rates drop, you refi. You don't have to stay with that. Even if you have a 30-year fix, you don't have to stay with it. A lot
Yeah.
of those loans, a lot of 30-year fixed don't even have a 3-year, don't even have a prepay penalty, so you can refi at any time. So yeah, I think if there's a situation out there, I know that there's nerves. There's always nerves, but you know what? Sometimes, like you said, with a great real estate agent and a great loan officer, sometimes you just got to jump in the pool and you'll find a way. And then, like you said, down the road, when other people are fighting for the home, you already have it, and you're refiing and having popcorn and watching everybody else fight for it, and you're living your life. So I'm in full agreement with you. Now I know that you do not have a crystal ball. But where do you feel like uh, the inventory is going to go in Long Beach, let's say in the next few years? Because right now it's very low.
Inventory is low. We've been low since COVID, because a lot of buyers couldn't afford to buy because maybe they weren't working or whatever. And then sellers weren't selling because where were they going to go? So they decided to fix up their houses and stay put, right? So the inventory dropped and we haven't recovered from that yet. So as of April, we just finished April, we had a 3.2 month supply of homes on the market. So it's where are we going to be in the next amount of time? Right now I feel like sellers are selling, people are getting out, they're leaving the state. We have buyers that are entering the market and they're buying, but those people enter as the rates start to drop. So as they enter, are we getting enough on the market to cover all those buyers that may enter? Probably not. So we'll continue to remain low for a period of time. How long? I don't know, but we just need sellers to put their home in the market.
Yeah. Well, I would argue that the inventory was low even before 2020. It just got worse.
Got
But I
worse.
feel the inventory was even low before that. And
Yeah.
2020, like you said, yeah, it even made it worse. One of the problems I see, especially like a city like Long Beach, is it's pretty well built out, meaning there's not too many vacant areas where you can do a new build. So my thought process on that is, and I'm wanting to know your opinion on it because I ask real estate agents all this all the time because I feel like it might be something that will happen in the future, and I think there's projects on the books. PCH and Second is I think kind of doing this, but taking down some of those strip malls because due to COVID, we've kind of went into a time capsule and we pushed things forward, 5, 10 years faster than we probably would have without COVID. Meaning people that probably would have never bought e-commerce stuff through Amazon and other places, but because of the virus, they were forced to do it. And as a result of it, they're looking at it going, wow, this is pretty cool. I don't have to stand in a line Christmas time at the Lakewood Mall. I could just go on my computer real quick and pick it up, and it's going to come to my house in maybe 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Um, and so they're not going back. They seen the light and they're like, okay, I learned the way. I'm going to do it. So as a result of that, a lot of retail stores are struggling and going with different type of models. So my thought process with that, and there's several strip malls in Long Beach and all over Southern California, but in Long Beach especially, my thought process would be is to maybe rezone a few of those to residential and build on them because we have a lot more of the commercial space that we don't need, and we can convert that into residential because there is demand for that. What was your thoughts on that?
Paul, I think that's a great idea. You can even do, I think maybe you've seen it, you touched on it a little bit, is where you could take that and you can make it mixed use, right?
Mhm.
Where you have some businesses below, maybe dry cleaners, maybe healthcare store, whatever, and then you build up, right? I would love to see us do that. And I'd like to see us do it where it's kind of eco-friendly, where you have green foliage within the building, maybe inside the building, you have areas that is family friendly. Maybe there's a little park inside, that sort of thing, but I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
So what's next for Jerusha?
What's next for me is to be the absolute best agent ever, be top agent, top producer. Business is really good right now. I'm all over the place. Long Beach, I have a listing in there. I have a new lease listing coming in there down in the Pine Street area. So just continue to grow my business and build my brand. So that one day maybe I'll be that strip mall owner, maybe that's what I'll do, Paul. Maybe I'll partner with some people and we'll build something. So
That'd be great. That's a great idea. And if people wanted to work with you or get more information about you, what would be the best way to do so?
well, they can call me on my phone at 818-402-9157, or they can email me at jdayre18@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. So, yeah.
What message would you like to leave our Long Beach audience with?
I think Long Beach is a great space to live and play in. We have the best restaurants there. Whether you want to be on the water for breakfast, like at Schooner or later, or you want to enjoy Second Street, we have beautiful PCH in Second. We have all the areas where you can walk on the beach. I just think it's a very relaxing place to be and very diverse, obviously. Um, get out, enjoy it. You know, we have the Grand Prix, we have an outlet mall. You don't have to go anywhere. We have comedy, we have the convention center. So there's so much to do in Long Beach, and that's why I love it, you know. So
I guess that's a great segue to my final and my favorite question to ask my guests is, what's your favorite places to eat in Long Beach?
oh, my favorite places to eat. I love Claire's at the Art Museum on Ocean Boulevard. So my favorite thing to do is to walk the beach, and I start way down at the end near like Rosie's Dog Park,
Okay, so
Dog
like near
Beach.
Near Bayshore?
Yes. And then I
Okay.
like to walk all the way up and then take the stairs up and go up to Claire's, sit out there in the morning, look at the ocean and have breakfast. I love Schooner or Later. Saint on Second is one of my favorites. Um, yeah, Tantalum. The view there is fabulous. Do you go to Tantalum?
Yes, yes. You named a lot of places in the shore, so I know where you like to hang out.
I do. I love the water. I mean, it's just a great stress reliever. And Purple Yoga, you can find me there as well. So
That the
24.
marketplace? Is
Yes.
purple? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do. I just think it's a great way for you to be able to not just get exercise, but to kind of reset your mind is to be on the ocean, and to enjoy that. What
I
else would
told
you do?
I totally agree. All those places that you've hit. Now, the only place that I have not hit, but when I've done this for quite a while now, and I've asked a lot of people, and Claire's comes up a lot.
Mhm.
So I feel like I need to hit it because you are like one of like 15 people that have mentioned Claire's. Um, so I need to go there. But all the Schooner or Later, I've been there 1,000 times. Love Schooner or Later. Tanlum. I love that. Do you know that that's the same owner?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay.
Simsi's is another my favorite. I love the beer and the arugula pizza there. Yeah, that's another great place. So I guess I'll have to meet you at Claire's. Maybe that's where we'll have to go.
That's it. Yeah, the next time we have a power meeting, we'll have to meet there.
Yeah, yeah. So
Well, Jerusha, it's a pleasure talking with you. I know we talk from time to time, but when you do it through a podcast form, you actually learn a little bit more about the person. So I appreciate that. I didn't know that you worked at Carl's Jr. I really didn't even know that you worked for the theme park. I knew that you worked for Kodak. I knew that, and I knew that you worked overseas, but I did not know that you worked in the theme parks. So that's pretty cool.
well, next time we'll have to maybe do something where we talk about it goes even deeper with grief and parent and child loss. And I volunteer at City of Hope. So yeah, you're right. There's sometimes, Paul, we look at people and we make quick decisions about people. And we think that people maybe they have an easy life, they haven't been through things. But when you really take the time to open the book of that person and learn, take the time to learn something about that person, you'll find out that there's some deep layers there, you know? So, and I feel like that's me. I have been blessed to have done quite a bit in my life, and I'm not done. I still feel like I'm just getting started. So, and I wake up every day with fervor. I'm ready to go. I love teaching and working with people. And that's one of the things I enjoy here at Berkshire Hathaway is I get to work with a lot of young people in the business and help and train. So that hasn't gone away. I'm still a leader, so I
It's
just
in
love
your
people.
blood. That's what you
It's in
do,
my
and I,
blood.
I absolutely agree. I feel like everybody goes through something. Somebody's going through something in their life, and that's why it's always good to be kind and try to give people the benefit of the doubt because you really don't know what's really going on in people's head. I mean, you could driving down the street and somebody cuts you off, well, maybe they had a really horrible day, or maybe there's an emergency and they need to get somewhere quickly. So you just never know, and it's good, to give people the benefit of the doubt because of that very reason.
Yeah, yeah. I'm coming into contact with a lot of individuals who were impacted by the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire right now, and they're looking for places to stay. There's a lot of leases going on right now. I think I have 4 leases right now, most I've ever had. And it's just basically they want to be able to offer their home to somebody that maybe has been affected by a fire. So yeah.
That's tremendous in itself. I mean, I know we didn't get into that, but yeah, that's definitely an issue going forward, and probably going to impact Long Beach because it's away from the hills a little bit. So I think a lot of people are going to look at Long Beach and the South Bay and Orange County and parts of Orange County. I mean, I know that when you get to Anaheim Hills, you're back in the fire area, but a lot of parts of Orange County, that people might want to go to as well. So that will definitely be interesting to see going forward as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I know we'll see each other soon. So it's been a Long Beach thing.